Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for having me on today, and Michelle as well. I don't know if she's hopped on yet. I know she just finished up on Sheila's call, which you mentioned. So, hey, everybody, happy Saturday morning. I'm up here in South Central Montana, and we woke up to a foot of snow, and we could see up to 2 more feet of snow today. So this is like winter hanging on, and oh my gosh, I am ready to go to Denver next month and celebrate with all of you at Thrive-Palooza. It's going to be a lot of fun. So when we signed up to do this Zoom, I was visiting with Michele, and I was like, so back to basics. What are we talking about? And just to give you a little background on me, I actually joined Lavelle 8.5 years ago. And just a little bit about me, I had really never been involved in network marketing before. I had been in retail business. I'm a 5th generation cattle rancher. We live in the middle of nowhere in the poorest place per capita in the United States. So when I first began in this business, it was like, how do I do this? And I like to talk like we all do. If we like something, I'm going to share it with somebody. And that's how my business began. But I also didn't really know how to do this business very well. So I knew it was really important to learn as much as possible. And there are a plethora of amazing books out there that a person can get and read. And that's really what I did. The very first book that I ever read when I was in this business was Go Pro by Eric Worre. That book was the reason that I hit my VIPs, that I earned my auto bonus in 23 days. I hit 200K in 6 months. That was why, because he had us make lists of people. And as I was visiting with Michele Klawitter, also a little bit about me, we have since, obviously, I lived in South Dakota during that time, moved to Montana. Over the past 8.5 years, and in any journey, in any business, it's going to look like peaks and valleys. Your road to being an entrepreneur is not going to be a straight line to the top. That's just not how it's going to be. There's going to be tops, bottoms. And I recently went through one of the worst valley periods of my life. My health declined severely. And if you follow me at all, or you've seen, you're like, wow, this gal's lost a lot of weight. Like, what is she doing? And to be quite honest with you, I've been on diet since I was 12 years old, and I've had to figure something out. I went on an extreme keto thing, and I actually caused my body to have an allergic response to where my esophagus closed, and I couldn't even drink water. So 3 years ago, that's what happened to me, and I had to have surgery. I had to totally start over. So with this, my business also shut down. I couldn't tell people that I was loving Thrive because I wasn't even loving life at that time. So you might think, how doesn't a 200K go to a 0 PPA? And that's what happened to me. And then where do I go from there? How do I start from 0 and start again? And I know Michele Klawitter and I have talked a lot about this. It's like, how does a person, because we all have these moments, remember, we're going to be at the peak and then we're going to roll down the other side and be at a 0. How does a person start again? And me, I had that little devil on my shoulder going, who are you? You were at 200K and now you have a 90-day PPA of 0? What? How does that even happen? And you're not showing up as a leader. And I had all these negative things going on in my head. And eventually what I had to do is I literally just had to face myself in the mirror. I had to think about all the blessings in my life and have gratitude, which we all, I love the password of this is gratitude, because that is where it all begins for me. I know Michele is very similar with that, but I really had to think about what the Thrive products had done for me personally, what they've done for my family, my team, all the miraculous things I've seen over the years. And why would I stop sharing?
Would you want something different?
So that's basically what I did. And I just looked in the mirror and I realized that I owed it to myself and I owed it to others to get going again. And so I pretended like I was in my VIP period again. The great thing is, though, I wasn't focused on promoters so much. What I really wanted to do was get people on the product first, because your greatest promoters come from people loving the product and getting started. But how does one do that? Well, in order to catch a few fish, you have to throw out a big net. And so you have to start talking about it. You have to be excited. Doesn't mean you have to blow your page up with nothing but Thrive, but you have to be out there and be excited. And then once you do get going and you're talking to people, you have to be really organized. And I have a little bit to share about that, but I want Michele to take over and kind of share what's on her mind as well. And I can come back and tell you guys what I'm using to create, an explosion of growth for myself personally and how I'm helping my team as well.
Hey guys. So first of all, I apologize for this little setup here. I am in my RV in my little bedroom area, and I have one little window with the light, and I've got the animals locked out. So hopefully we won't hear a lot of noises between the cats and the dogs. But so honestly, my thing today is pretty much like that call I just did. And thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. It's kind of funny, my entire existence, I have never felt confident in anything. I've never had good self-esteem. I still struggle with the self-esteem part. One reason I hate doing Zooms, I don't like looking at this. So I have learned, just don't look at me, right? I guarantee you, not a single one of you is looking at me the way I look at me, right? So we have to push through that fear. And that's where this whole thing comes from. Like, there's not a single one of you on here that hasn't done something that you were afraid of to get to this point, right? But you're still here, which means you didn't die. And that's one of the things we say on my team a lot is, but did you die? In fact, one year at Thrive Palooza, I bought t-shirts for all of my team, and on the back of the t-shirts was our statement, but did you die? And it's so true when you think about that. Like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen if I reach out to Jennifer and say, are you ready to thrive with me yet? Because you keep posting about being tired, and I keep telling you I've got what you need right here. Like, is she going to kill me? No. So why not do it, right? Look what it did for me. Look what it did for my friend Connie that I was talking about her experience on this Zoom or this call that I just did. Look what it's done for Cheyenne. Look what it's done for Diane, for Jennifer, all of you on here. What has Thrive done for you? Why are you here? Why are you here right now? Because it changed you so much that you can't help but share about it, and you want to earn an income and make a living doing this. You want to have your freedom. I was talking to a leader on another team of Thrive, Jessica, a couple of days ago. And it was kind of funny that we were talking about this whole confidence thing. And I was telling her how afraid I am. Like, mind you, on that call with Sheila, I may have sounded like I didn't have a fear in the world. My hands are so clammy right now, and they're cold. Like, they're so cold. I literally was sitting on my fingers because they were so cold, right? But I still did it. And Cheyenne can tell you how many times I've done calls and stuff, and afterwards been like, oh my God, I can breathe now. Oh, Jesus. The very first call I did with Cheyenne, sharing my experience, was a Lavelle live call. Talk about being afraid. And I remember sitting there waiting for whoever was in front of me to finish, and I'm like this on this call, like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And I had typed out my experience. It was the worst call ever, because I literally was like, my name is Michele Klawitter, and I live in Virginia, and I started Thrive because I'm overweight. And that's how I did it. But guess what? I did it, right? When I share now, do I sound like that? No. Do I write it down? No. I don't even make notes. I don't make an outline. I go wherever my brain says, hey, let's go there today, right? I'm afraid every single time, because when I show up like this in front of all of you, there's that fear that somebody out there is going to judge me. Somebody out there is going to look at me and be like, ooh, look at her hair. Ooh, look at her face. I don't care. It doesn't bother me anymore because I won't know about it. And even if they did reach out and talk about how awful I am, well, guess what, bitch? I'm still in this RV driving around the US. So what are you doing? Right? That's what you have to be like. When I decided to really go all in on this was actually 2018. I spent the first 2 years of my Thrive experience saying I am 200K, but not believing it. And it started, actually, Lori Ford is the one who started me, and she kept putting that faith and that hope in my head. And then I met Cheyenne. I'm gonna cry, damn it. God, I hate my emotions sometimes. Anyway,
we all have them.
I know. But we went to this retreat, and Cheyenne had earned a journal or something like that. And she decided to gift it to me. And in the front of this journal, she had said, You're already 200K. You just have to make it official. And that hit me so differently. Like, it's true. Every single one of you is whatever it is you're wanting to go for, whether it's an auto bonus, 200K, making enough to cover your mortgage, making enough that you don't have to budget $60 for gas and groceries, whatever it is, you can do it. It's right there. You just have to make it official, right? So that's pretty much like how I went with this. Is I built off of the confidence others had in me, and I just did it. Because the worst outcome was I would die, and I wasn't going to die by sharing. I may have died of embarrassment when I got off a call or something, or felt like I completely ruined it, because I always feel like when I get off that I just rambled, I couldn't breathe, I didn't take a breath. You know what I'm talking about. You all do it, except for maybe Cheyenne. I don't know. I've ever seen her afraid. But it's like, you have to keep going. And when I was talking to Jessica and she was talking about my confidence and stuff, and I mentioned this on the call, it was the Denver leadership retreat that the first one we ever had. And I went on it, and I was sitting up there, and you know how Paul, when he's talking, he'll look down at people and mention names. And he looked at me and he's like, and Michele, your post, I love following. They're so filled with confidence. And I'm like, and I look at my team next to me, and they're all like so excited because they knew what I felt, because I am an open book. My team knows about my mindset issues, my self-esteem issues, all of that. And I was like, I'm not confident. I still didn't learn that lesson until just 2 days ago when I was talking to Jessica. And I mentioned that to her, and she's like, well, confidence is pushing through the fear and doing it anyway. Mind blown. 7 years later, I'm still learning, right? That's the other thing. You have to keep doing this personal development. That's one of the basics of doing network marketing, is you have to do some sort of personal development. I've got a book here I'm reading that's by Rob Sperry and a couple of my friends, actually. It's called Unstuck. And one of the things that's in there was talking about personal development. And there's personal development and there's procrastinational development. So what's the difference? Personal development is you do the trainings, you do the videos, you listen, you jump on these Zooms, you take away these notes, and you put action to it. Procrastination development is you do all these things, but you don't ever put it into action. But then you can say to yourself, but I did it. I showed up at the training, which is great. But this training is not going to do you a damn bit of good if you don't put any action into it. Cheyenne?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, you made me tear up there talking about those memories. So yeah, that's so true. And, behind everything that we do, there's a why associated with it. If my power goes out, guys, I'm sorry, my lights just flickered. This is a little scary. So, but anyway, why are we doing this? Like, why are you telling people about Thrive? Why are you going to send that scary message? Like, what are you going to say when you follow up? The why is behind everything. And if we don't have that dialed in, then when things get hard, the valleys of what I was mentioning before, it isn't going to help catapult you up to the next peak. So you really want to hone in on why you're doing this. And the funny thing is that will change over time. I know my why has definitely changed over these 8.5 years. When I got sick, I didn't have much of a why, but I had to pull myself out of the worst valley I'd ever been in my life. And I've reached a bigger peak than I ever did before. And so you have to use visualization also in this journey of self-development, personal, growth, helping other people, your business. Nothing is going to stay the same. And you should be grateful for that. There's going to be challenges, but what doesn't break you makes you. So you want to surround yourself with people on a similar mission. Really get your mindset dialed in. There's a ton of personal development books on that as well. I'm constantly listening to things to make me a better, stronger person. Michele says she's never seen me, scared, struggle, whatever. That's not true. I have. Maybe at that point in my life, I just didn't show it as much, but I'm still scared like heck on certain things. And I still groan and grumble sometimes when I have to do something. But the reality is that your mind is a tool. And you have to sharpen that tool just like anything else. And it's just like the toolbox that we carry around. Lavelle gives us so many amazing things for free, but we have to be willing to go after them and develop ourselves along the way. They're not going to do things for us. You know, it's just like going out and talking to people about Thrive. No one's going to make us do that. It's the following up. And nothing hurts worse than somebody you've talked to about Thrive and you didn't follow up and you see that they're thriving with somebody else. That's a bad one. So you really want to get organized with that. I actually use Teamsy. That is what I personally use to keep my people organized. People think, wow, you have a great memory. No, I don't. I have a terrible memory, but Teamsy has actually really helped me get my customers in line with that. And I'm following up and I'm putting important notes down. And if like someone's granddaughter was sick with RSV, I put a follow-up in there in a couple of days to check on her. I wouldn't have remembered because I have 50 million things going on in my life, just like you guys do. When I followed up with her, it helps us be human beings and we care about them as people. This is not just a sales transaction where we do not care about people, because people, you know, they're not going to buy you or buy the product if you don't care. Like, you have to put that element into it. We have to be human beings. And that's one of the things. It's a tool to put in your toolbox. You don't have to use that. You can use your calendar, your Google Calendar. You can use your notes section. You can use whatever it works for you. But I know when my PPA was 0, my PPA now is in the double and triple digits. And so I can't keep all those people organized. And that's me talking to all those people. I don't use Google Ads. I don't do any of that stuff. That is me as one person trying to get out here and just be a real human being and sharing my experiences with people. So stay organized, stay excited about what you're doing, and, you know, reach out for other people. And being on Zooms like this really help you to hear things differently. Sometimes somebody has said the same thing to you, but then you hear it in a different voice or in a different way, and it just hits you. And you're like, why didn't I think of that? Or why have I never heard this before? And you've heard it, or, you know, whatever, but it just wasn't the right time. I know several books that I've read about business and whatnot. I'll read them again or listen to them again, and I hear something different. It's the different stage that you're at. And just being genuine and really loving what we do here. And I mean, we really are one team. We are all Team Lavelle. We're just helping people, you know, experience how great it is to be a thriver. Some people are going to take you for your word right away. Most people aren't. Be prepared for that. You know, be prepared for that objection or the no, or the, oh gosh, that's expensive. You know, you might not think it's expensive. They may. If they're like, well, is it expensive? And I'm like, well, that depends on, you know, what's expensive to you. I'm like, personally, $6 a day for me is very doable. Number one, I love how it makes me feel. I can feel it working in my body. I don't have to like guess if it's working. The other thing is you actually can get it for free. We can talk about that later. Number three, I know what it's doing for so many people, and I can see it, you know, like there's a before and a during of this. That's what's great. So there's ways you can say things with this that get people excited. And, you know, it might take 12 follow-ups to get somebody. My mom didn't thrive with me for 4.5 years. So you know what? You just got to understand it, accept where they're at. Don't quit loving them because they're not in your boat rowing. You know what I mean? Like, just love them where they're at. And that's basically my advice. But in order to get from where you're at to where you want to go and visualizing that, you have to take the daily steps to get there. This is not a sometime business. You have to be all in with this if you're going to create success for yourself. And that's what this is, in my opinion. But Michele, back to you.
Well, and that's another thing, talking about the basics, you know, sharing your story is the main thing. I personally don't share the business opportunity that often. Every now and then I share about my auto bonus, or I share about, honestly, that's it. the auto bonus. I guess the time freedom, I share about that, but I share my lifestyle, right? And my Facebook friends have seen the lifestyle change over these years, so they know there's money coming in, right? But I don't go after business builders. I go after people who need Thrive, because the best promoters you're going to have are customers who love their Thrive, right? How I was brought into this business worked for me only because I had Lori. And if I had not had her confidence and her telling me exactly what to say, because like Cheyenne said, those words mattered, I don't know where I would be, because I'd never done network marketing before. I didn't even know it was a thing. I had never heard of it. So I knew nothing about it. I knew my mom did Avon, but I didn't know that was a network marketing thing. I thought she just bought a bunch of shit to put in her bedroom, right? Because that's what happens with Avon. But when you're sharing your story, you can't just share and share and share and do nothing else. Okay. Yes, it's attraction marketing, but you have to put in work on that too. So you have to be willing to not only comment when people comment on your stuff, but look at who liked your post, right? Send them a message. Thank you so much for liking my post. Was there something in it that resonated with you? Or reaching out because you see somebody that makes a comment about being tired, or, hey, what do you guys use for probiotics or whatever, right? I'll comment on that and be like, hey, I'll shoot you a message real quick. And then I just shoot them a message. And depending on whatever they're talking about, I'm like, hey, I totally understood that. That used to be me, or that used to be my friend Cheyenne. If it's not me, because I am all about integrity, I'm not going to pretend something was me that wasn't. But I will share somebody else's story and be like, Thrive will help you with that if you'll let me. And then when they come back and say, oh, I can't afford that, but like, girl, I completely understand that. I do. What do you feel comfortable spending to see what it can do for you? Like those words, and I say this so much, I know Cheyenne's heard it probably 20 million times. Those words are very important. Don't say, what can you afford? Because when you're somebody like I was and you're poor and somebody asks you, what can you afford? It makes you feel shitty because you're about to tell them how broke your ass is and you don't like that, right? But when you ask somebody, what do you feel comfortable spending? They can tell you $25 and you don't know that's their last $25. They could have $2,000 in that bank account, right? One of our promoters on our team, her name's Janelle McCoy, this is kind of what Cheyenne was talking about. I set her up a customer account. She gave me her email. I set it up. I never sent her a message again. A couple months later, she posted that she was thinking of trying that Thrive stuff. And I was like, oh, I've got a customer account with her. And it wasn't there. And I went back to my messages. And I was like, well, maybe I never set it up. And then she shared on a call that she deleted that customer account because I never messaged her back and she heard bad things about Thrive. But then thankfully for me, she ended up under one of my promoters. So she's still on my team, right? She, when I was talking to her on the phone with Darlene, the person she ended up under, said she couldn't afford it. What do you feel comfortable spending? I could do probably $50. Okay, we got you. We gave her some credits, sent her a month's supply. 3 days later, she bought an $800 package. She could afford it. The value was not there. She didn't know what to expect. She had no idea. And even with me sharing and Darlene sharing, she still was unsure. I do everything in my power, whether it's credits, free product, rebate, it doesn't matter. If you tell me you feel comfortable spending $20, you're getting some Thrive one way or another. And I am like that with everybody. And then I let them know I will help you get it for free. All you have to do is be the connector. And you have to say that several times. When I'm following up when they start their Thrive experience and they tell me what the good is that it's doing, oh, you should make a post about that if you decide to. Now, notice I said, if you decide, because I'm letting them know it's a choice. If you decide to, tag me in it and I will help you explain this to your friends. If you have somebody that's interested in it, connect them with me and I'll help them get started like I helped you get started. You have to keep pointing out that all they have to do is be the connector. They do not have to be the promoter. They don't want to be the promoter right now. You may get a few Cheyennes or Jennifers on your team that are like, yeah, let's do this. And man, I would love to have some Jennifers and Cheyennes on my team right now. Right? I would love that. But they just haven't shown up yet, but they will eventually. Cheyenne?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that. Yeah. You just really want to meet people where they're at. And that's it. I mean, you got to put yourself out there. You know what your why is, be focused, have a structured plan every day of what you're doing. It's just like, the tracker sheets I use, or you can even use that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 back in your cloud office. That is awesome as well. You can print out, there's things out there on the internet. If you want to get organized, you will, that's the thing. If you want this, you will. And it's really all about doing that. And then just staying in touch with everyone, making sure that you're a product of the product. people need to know on social media that you are a thriver. That doesn't mean you have to blare thrive posts everywhere. I use my stories a lot. I will do like before and durings pictures a lot. I don't ever say after, because I mean, my life isn't over. So I'm not an after, I'm a during, because during, people like, you've been using this for 8.5 years, but you just now lost, weight. Well, this is, a good thing for Thrive Elite. Yes, but, it does matter what you're also putting into your body. It also matters what you're putting into your mind, the things that you're telling yourself and the motivation that goes along with that. I always tell people you can't fly with the eagles if you hang out with a bunch of turkeys. So you've got to get that negativity out of your life. You got to be positive. You need to listen to people that are positive. And if you don't have anyone around your immediate circle that is, then find some people. There are people, there's podcasts, there's books. I mean, there's YouTube videos, there's everything out there. The more positive you can put in your brain, and the no backing down. Like, I listen to Grant Cardone a lot, and some people don't like him because he's very extreme, but that's what pushes me through the yucky moments of the no's and the people being jerks and my family not understanding what I do, and whatever. It doesn't matter. This matters to you. We all know this product is life-changing. The company is life-changing as well. We just have to get out there and change lives. And we can't do that if we're not actually being active in our business. So that's really my last thoughts on this. Michele, do you have any? I know we're about at time here, so.
Just do it scared. Doesn't
Yep.
matter. That's about it. Go out there and do it. Somebody is out there crying on their couch right now, waiting for you to reach out.
And one last thing, you guys, Thrive Elite, you cannot imagine the messages I've had about the pandemic pounds. And that's some verbiage that I've been using lately. You wouldn't believe it. There are so many people out there that have put on 20, 30 pounds during the pandemic, and now we're getting out in life again. This couldn't have come at a better time. I mean, literally, Lavelle is always thinking about us as human beings and what we need and helping us with our business. So don't be afraid to put it out there. And if you don't have a transformation yet, use somebody else's, or use your glow up picture, because I even know people who maybe didn't need to lose weight. Their skin tells the story of what this nutrition does to their bodies. And that's what you want to do. So with that, that's all I have to say, but I appreciate you, Jennifer, for having us. Thanks, Michele, for doing this with me.
Yay, thank you so much, ladies. I am totally going to use that. You can't soar with the eagles if you hang around turkeys. That is perfect. It's so, so, so true. All right. Thank you so much. Going to stop the recording.